Aviv. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Navon, on the program. What are your thoughts on the United Nations response to the newly proposed plan, or Israel being allowing airdrops of aid into the Palestinian enclave, and also, of course, the news of this temporary pause in fighting in certain parts of the Gaza Strip?
Well, it was about time for the United Nations to cooperate with the distribution of aid. For the past few days, there were hundreds of trucks which Israel brought into the Gaza Strip as part of its humanitarian aid for the civilian population. And unfortunately, the UN and its agencies did not distribute this aid and let the truck sit idle. So if there is a humanitarian issue in the Gaza Strip, the UN has been part of the problem and not part of the solution. Israel, for its part, has provided more aid to the civilian population in Gaza as any military during wartime to an enemy population. So all those accusations of starvation and famine are complete nonsense.
Dr. Navon, there has been reports from Egypt, reports from that the UN have said themselves that there are hundreds of trucks waiting outside the Gaza Strip, which Israel isn't letting in. Israel have refused to facilitate the distribution of an experienced organization like the United Nations to the people of the Gaza Strip. This is why people are saying that there is so much international condemnation. This is why Israel is now the subject to all this international pressure. Is that not what's happening?
No, that's not true. In fact, Israel has led in the past 2 weeks over 4,500 trucks of aid into the Gaza Strip. Israel, as I said before, has provided more aid to the civilian population in Gaza than any military in time of war, and those accusations are false. Now, regarding the Hamas position, this whole Hamas propaganda, unfortunately, has been echoed by many sympathetic media and has been vindicated by politicians such as French President Macron, who recognized a so-called Palestinian state last week, and therefore encouraged Hamas in toughening its position. So as a result of this propaganda campaign of so-called starvation in Gaza, Hamas has been able to increase the aid without liberating any civilian and Israeli hostages. So the result of this campaign, of this false campaign, has been for Hamas to increase the aid, to take control of it, and not release any Israeli hostages. It is
Dr. Navon, I'm very, very, very sorry to interrupt you, of course, but the World Health Organization has said that there are 70,000 children who are under 5 in Gaza who are acutely malnourished, with many requiring urgent medical treatment. Approximately 93% of Gaza's population is facing high levels of food insecurity, with 1 in 5 people at risk of starvation. Now, that's from the World Health Organization. What do you say to that?
I will refer you to The Economist, to the last version of The Economist that came out on Friday. And its editorial on the situation in Gaza. The Economist itself recognizes that all the predictions from the UN and from aid agencies, including the WHO, about starvation and famine in Gaza in 2024 were false. Dixit The Economist. Indeed, they were false. So if they were false in 2024, why should they be trustworthy in 2025?
I'm just letting you know what the figures are here. We have the World Health Organization putting these out. What are your thoughts on the rising international condemnation, mainly from Israel's former allies? As you've said, that France is going to recognize a Palestinian state from September. What will be Israel's response to that when it happens? Obviously, there's pressure from other Western nations to do the same. Just yesterday, you had over a third of British MPs pushing the UK government to also do the same.
Well, the truth of the matter is that Macron is completely isolated in Europe, in the G7. His decision has not been followed by Britain, by Germany, by Italy. Those three countries said that they would not follow Macron's example. So did Canada. So within the G7, Macron is completely isolated. He is isolated in Europe. And there's a good reason for this. The reason is that he has basically vindicated Hamas. He has basically granted Hamas a diplomatic victory over October 7. And the consequence of that, of course, is that France will pay a price. Israel is a major power, it's the greatest power in the Middle East. It will downgrade its relation with France in terms of intelligence and the military. There will be consequences to Macron's completely irresponsible decision.
Dr. Emmanuel Navon, thank you very much for joining us on the programme and for